Hello friends, myself Advocate Jyoti Charadia and welcome back to our channel Know the Law. So before starting with the lecture, do subscribe our channel and like and share. And yes, don't forget to press the bell icon which will keep you updated about our upcoming videos. So friends, today's topic is history of the Indian Constitution. If we want to know and understand the Indian Constitution as a particular article is enumerated in the Constitution, for that we should first understand how the Indian Constitution slowly started to take the shape since the arrival of the East India Company and under the rule of Britishers in India till we got the independence in 1947. So, starting from the East India Company, that is from 1600 to 1765 AD, as we all know that the primary aim or object behind the arrival of the company in India was to trade and nothing else. But after knowing the political system in India, the company, for the first time in the Indian history, took the active part in the Battle of Palsi and defeated the Nawab of Bengal, as a result of which the company got the right to collect the taxes in Bengal, which indirectly gave them the administrative power over the state. So, this event embarked as a beginning of the rule of Britishers in India. Now, coming forward from 1765 to 1858 AD, the era of the East India Company. So, from here on, company started slowly to take the control of whole of India and made the Kolkata as the capital of the company, from where the company started ruling whole of India. So to maintain the order in India, after starting to rule, prepared and enforced various laws in India, and during this time only the Supreme Court was also established in Kolkata by the company. But after seeing the misuse of the power to rule over India by the company, the British Parliament in 1857 took over the company under its control, which meant that the company lost its control over India and the Parliament took over that power. That means the Britishers got the power to rule over India, and from here on, the British Raj started to British Raj started in India and continued till India was declared independent in 1947. Before moving towards the British Raj era, from where the Indian Constitution started to take this shape, we should first understand the difference between the revolution and the movement. That is, as to why the Indian War of Independence is called as the Indian Independence Movement and why not it is called Indian Revolution. So, after thereafter only we can understand the structure and development or the purpose behind making the Indian Constitution within minutes. So, what is meant by revolution? Revolution basically means the radical change, which further means that it can be regarded as an ideology or the ultimate aim or value to gain the political freedom to the citizens of India by hook or the crook, after which they prepared their own constitution and run the state accordingly, like of the American and the French Revolution, that is, by breaking the old one and welcoming the new system by using force or by war. Now, coming to know what is meant by movement. Movement means uniting large number of people to bring the change in the society, that is for the interest of the society only, or to oppose the anti-social changes taking place in the society. And the movements are shaped for such important changes in the society. The movements can be processed further by using procession, announcement, agitations, and much more. In the simplest language, we can say that movement means putting forward the demand by the society to bring a change in the peaceful way before the government or any ruling system. Now, let's start with the British Raj era, that is from 1858 to 1947 AD, as it is by constitution. In this period, the Indian constitution started to take the shape. So, what are the important events that led to the shaping of the Indian constitution, which can be studied as follows? Among them, the first is the Government of India Act 1861. It this act, because of this act only, the India uh, came under the direct control of the British government, that is, the direct representation of the crown. That means the representatives of the crown came to India, and but this government were answerable to the crown about all the happenings in India. Next is the Indian Council Act of 1861. Due to this act, the Indian citizens got the place in the Legislative Council, and not only this, but also the power of centralization, which were centralized at the Kolkata, were now decentralized among Bombay, Madras, and Kolkata. This decentralization of power has given an impact to the Constitution of India as well. We can see the decentralization of power among the union and the state, and also at the ground level government as well, like municipal corporation, municipal council, and various administrative uh, machineries of the state. Next is the Indian Council Act of 1892. As we seen the discussions of the budget in the parliament was that was started in India by this act only. That is the Act of Indian Council Act of 1892. Again, the indirect elections also was started by under this act, as the president of India is also appointed for a fixed term by the indirect elections only. So again, the appointment of Indian citizens as the judges in the High Court was also started by this act also only. Next is the Indian Council Act of 1909, which is also called as Morley Minto Reforms, which established the separate electorate system and also made the provisions for the elections commission as well. The place of the election commission or a separate place of the election commission body can also be seen today as well in the Indian constitution also. Thereafter came the Government of India Act of 1919, which is also known as Montagu Chelmsford reforms. It introduced the concept of the responsible government. For example, if any natural calamities or the major health outbreaks in any part of India, then the central or the state governments or administrative machineries come hand in hand to uh, come up with this pandemic or the situations by uniting as a one for the welfare of the people. Again, the diarchy system, that is, the dual form of government, was also introduced by this act. As we see the distribution of power among the central and the state was also done in India under this act. Again, the most important thing that was done under this act was establishment of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in India. Next came the three round table conference. It was meant for considering the future constitution of India by the British government. As it was held in three sessions, so it is called as a three round table conference, and this conference took place in London. This conference was a result of the report published in 1930 by the Simon Commission, which reviewed the Government of India Act 1919, which was undertaken by the Commission in 1927. Uh, the recommendations or the features which were discussed under the three round table conference are as follows. First one is the federal structure. Next is the provincial constitution, that means the sovereignty. Again the protection of the minorities was also discussed, and the defense services. Again the Baba Sahib Ambedkar demanded the separate electorate for the untouchables, but though it was not accepted at that time, but got placed in the Indian constitution by abolishing it completely according to Article 17 of the Indian constitution. Though the conference was not successful, but the recommendations of the conference were published on the white paper on 1933 and later on discussed in the British Parliament. But after analyzing the recommendation of the conference, the Government of India Act of 1935 was passed on the basis of these recommendations. Thereafter came the Government of India Act 1935, which established bank as we see the Reserve Bank of India in today. Later on, it also established the Public Services Commission, as we see of today, like UPSC, that is Union Service Public Commission against the State Public Service Commission. But that time it was called as FPSC, PPSC, JPSC, and so on. The Government of India Act also of 1935 also established the federal form of government again the provincial autonomy, that is the sovereignty, and also the All India Federation that consists of the three lists, that is the federal list, provincial list, and the concurrent list, as the same reference has been given in the Indian Constitution as well, where we see the union list, state list, and the concurrent list were all introduced or borrowed from the Act of 1935. Next came the August Offer of 1945. In this offer, the Britishers recognized the demand of India to make its own constitution and also give the special protection to the minorities, which we can still see under various provisions of the Indian constitution. Thereafter came the Cripps Mission in 1942, which recognized the dominial status. As we know, before the arrival of the Britishers in India, the kingship type of government where the king used to rule over the territory was prevalent in India. But after the arrival of the British, contracts between the Britishers and the king. As of now, the Britishers was going to leave India. So the question arose about what will be the uh, stand about the money that they had acquired, also the power and property. As there was a contract between the Britishers and the kings, the after leaving from India, but obvious the contract is going to be stand to be cancelled. So all the properties and power will be going back to the kingship, that is to the kings of the states from where such powers were transferred to the Britishers. So only the dominant status was recommended in this mission, because of which the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel had to struggle to convince all the princely states in India to come under the flagship of India and stand as an united nation. Not only this, but also introduced the Indian Constituent Assembly, but it was accepted by this time. Thereafter, it also offered the provision to constitute a separate constitution for every province, as the Britishers before leaving India made a plan to divide the country in two nations, that is India and Pakistan. So by this mission, that is the Cripps mission, they gave the power to both the nation to make their own constitutions and further rule after their leaving the countries according to this constitution. According to this constitution, thereafter came the Quit India movement in 1944. By this movement, the Gandhiji demanded or said to the Britishers to quit the India immediately. Like uh, this, the struggle to achieve the independence was started in full force under the leadership of independence of India. The Gandhiji, while addressing to the citizens of India, said that we are not slaves of the Britishers, and the people should remove this fear of being slave to the Britishers from their mind and heart. And if they are not able to remove this feeling, then they should be ready to lay their lives for the sake of independence of their own country. Although this agitation was a mission, that he further said that though the agitation was a mission, and he didn't think that the India will be partitioned, or people should not think that India would be partitioned or not, but should think that India should be independent as a whole India and not into two parts, and should fight independence for the whole of India. Next came the cabinet mission in 1946. This mission arrived in India in 1946, uh, and um, with the three cabinet members of the Britishers, namely Lord Patrick Lawrence, Sir Stafford Cripps, and A.V. Alexander, whose aim was to discuss with the leaders of various parties like Muslim League, Congress, kings of the princely states about the establishment of the interim government, and also making the provisions for constitution drafting mechanism. But most of the party leader didn't agree to the terms and conditions of this mission, so this mission failed completely by achieving its aim. Lastly came the Mountbatten plan in 1947. Under this plan, the Britishers announced on 3rd of July 1947 the plan of Indian independence, which mentioned the plan to divide the nation into two. But as the Congress was not left with any option, has to accept the viable plan in that situation of the partition. And accordingly, in July 1940, independence bill was passed in the British Parliament, and accordingly, the India was divided into two independent countries, namely the Pakistan and India, which got and came into existence on 14th of August and 15th of August 1947 respectively as an independent country, and thereafter India started to prepare its own constitution. So now let's come and know what about the making of Indian Constitution in short. The idea of Indian Constituent Assembly was first proposed by the M.N. Roy in 1934 but was accepted in 1946. The members of this assembly were elected indirectly, that is, uh, that is by the single transferable vote of the proportional representation. This Constituent Assembly, that is the Indian Constitution Constituent Assembly, was formed for the purpose of writing the Constitution for independent India. Initially, the number of members were 389, but after partition, the members went to the some of the members went to the Pakistan, and number came down to 299. And out of this 299, 70 were nominated from the princely states, and others were from the British India as such. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was first temporarily appointed as the chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Later on, the Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president, and whereas the Harendra Kumar Mukherjee was elected as the vice president of the assembly, and B.N. Rao was elected as the constituent advisor. The assembly for the first time met on 9th of December 1946 and appointed a total 22 committees to deal with the different tasks of the constitution making. And among these 22 committees, 12 uh, to while making the constitution as a whole. The time taken by the assembly to frame the constitution was 2 years, 11 months, and 17 days. The assembly, in the span of 2 years, met only in person for 11 times as such. After after finalizing the document, it had 22 parts consisting of 395 articles and 8 schedules. But as of now, it has been increased to 25 parts consisting of 448 articles and 12 schedules. The draft was published in India in January 1948 for the people of India, and were asked to give the feedbacks and inputs, whatever they have or whatever they want to put in the constitution within in 8 months. The last session was held on 14th to 26th November 1949, during which the constitution was passed and adopted by the assembly on the 26th November 1949 and came into force on 26th January 1950, which is also celebrated as the Republic Day. And the Dr. Rajendra Prasad was was elected president of the independent India. So, friends, this is how the Indian Constitution slowly started to take their shape since the arrival of the East India Company in 1600 till India got the independence in 1947. So, if you all have understood the today's lecture, then please like and share our videos. And yes, don't forget to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to keep you updated about upcoming videos. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and meet you in the next video.